Can you believe that Erik ten Hag is already on the hot seat after only 3 games this season? Of course you can. It was the most predictable thing possible coming into this season. So now that the rumors are starting to fly, we're seeing links to managers like Zinedine Zidane as a possible replacement at Manchester United, even though Erik ten Hag is not even gone yet. But I'm not sure that's going to happen, and even if he wants to, I'm not sure it's the best fit. The best fit might already be on the coaching staff. We're going to break down this entire disaster next, here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. So, of course, here we are again with Erik ten Hag on the hot seat at Manchester United. This is one of the least surprising developments possible early in this season. I can't even say I'm shocked that it's only 3 games in and that it's happening this quickly. No, he's the same manager he was last summer when he was on the hot seat and all summer while they were trying to replace him. And so we can't be shocked that here we are. But now the rumors are starting. And we look like we're in a similar situation where they're only going to fire him once they have the replacement lined up, which I hate, but in the middle of the season, they sort of have to do it this way, I guess. And they're talking about Zinedine Zidane, and we're seeing links to Thomas Tuchel. But I want to talk about how those guys compare to Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's already on the bench at Manchester United. So we're going to break down all these options here in a second. But before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Get down in the comment section. What do you think? Keep ten Hag, go for Zidane, go for Tuchel, go for Van Nistelrooy, somebody else off the board. I'd love to get your thoughts. Get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave some comments on Twitter at Pitchside Pub and check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So there's a lot of options here, and of course the big name is Zinedine Zidane, who rumors have started to swell around. He's been exploring some training camps, some practices, some training grounds recently. I think he was at Real Betis, and they got some quotes, and he talked about Manchester United. And listen, we cannot knock Zinedine Zidane as a manager. I'm not going to sit here and say that there are a lot of better, more qualified managers on the market for any job than Zinedine Zidane. What he has done is pretty cut and dry. 2 stints at Real Madrid, the first of which included 3 straight Champions League wins. And I've got a lot of qualifiers we can do with that. He had 3 Ballon d'Ors or winners on that team, or at least 3 guys who would eventually win the Ballon d'Or. Cristiano Ronaldo, Luka Modric, and Karim Benzema, as well as a ton of other talent. I mean, listen, winning 3 Champions Leagues in a row is an accomplishment, but that's a team that was built to do it. So, could other managers have done that with them? Well, some had success before and after him, but some did not. So you got to give him some credit, at least where it's due. He also hasn't coached in a little while. He also definitely has interest in the French national team once Didier Deschamps steps down. So how long is he willing to stay at any club if he has his eyes on that? So there are some questions around Zinedine Zidane. He's also a tremendous personality, a big name, a high-profile guy. Again, that has pros and cons. Sometimes that's what a locker room needs to shake it up. Who in that Manchester United locker room is going to challenge Zinedine Zidane when he can bust out a plethora of rings and trophies, both from his playing days and his managing days, and just go, hey, look here, right? Check out the rings, check out the trophies. Now sit down and shut up. I'm going to tell you what to do. So there is something to be said for that. However, Manchester United has been a circus. They've been a circus for so long that a big name is not always the best solution. Look what happened when Cristiano Ronaldo came in. It wasn't about talent, it was about the persona. Now, it is different, obviously, when it's the manager versus the player, and managers handle the media, and that's probably better because they can levy that over the players, whereas when the player has a big persona and he's supposed to be listening to Ralph Rangnick, that was a dynamic issue there. So it is different. It's a little bit apples to oranges, but is a big personality what Manchester United needs right now, or would they be better off with someone with a little less personality who's going to fly more under the radar just to keep the media circus sort of down? Because you're going to take oil and water here and put them together, and it's going to explode if Zinedine Zidane goes to Manchester United. But here's where I think we may have issues, and so, what I've said so far is sort of, if he is the best option, should it be available, should he have interest, and should they make everything work? And yeah, he probably is, more so than Thomas Tuchel, more so than Ruud van Nistelrooy, who I'm sort of leading this towards as the candidate I think might end up being the best realistic option. That's sort of where I'm going with this. Stick with me here. Because I'm not sure Zinedine Zidane is realistic for many of the same reasons I don't think Thomas Tuchel is realistic and why it didn't work out for him during the summer. Zinedine Zidane is on record as saying, yes, I'm interested in coaching again. I want to get back in the technical area. I want to coach again. But I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Well, right now, Manchester United are not winners. They're not. An FA Cup and a Carabao Cup does not count. Zinedine Zidane does not give a flying anything about the Carabao Cup. I assure you of that. He means winning the league and winning the Champions League. That's what he cares about. Those are the trophies he wants. Manchester United is not currently in position to do those things, and frankly, they don't feel close. Now, they do have talent, and maybe with a better tactical manager and a better motivator, they are closer than they appear right now, but they're not there right now. They are not that team right now. So would he even have interest in going there if he doesn't think they could win? It's a relevant question that you would not think we'd have to ask about Manchester United, but thus is how far they have fallen. He did also mention that he doesn't speak English particularly well. He can do it. He's comfortable a little bit, but it's not his obviously native language, and he doesn't speak it particularly well. And he has said, he's a communicator, and that's important to him. So he appeared to have some apprehension there. That apprehension is not on Manchester United's side. That is on his side, as in terms of can he communicate the way he needs to. That's not a place where he spent a lot of time like he did in Spain when he played for Real Madrid. So that's a relevant question. But here's the issue that I think really is going to torpedo it, just like it was the reason that Thomas Tuchel didn't end up there this summer. Managers of that stature, Tuchel with a Champions League under his belt, and Zinedine Zidane with multiple under his belt, they are going to want a say in picking their players. They are not going to sit back and just coach the players that show up that management and Jim Ratcliffe and his folks and Dan Ashworth and all the guys that they pick. He is going to have a say. And it's probably going to be more than just, we need an attacking midfielder in this profile, go find me one. No, he's going to want to pick some players. He's not been sitting on a beach sipping Mai Tais somewhere for the last few years while he wasn't coaching. He's been watching. And he knows who he wants. He's going to want to have a say. And that is what torpedoed the Thomas Tuchel possibilities this summer. He did not want to come in and not have a say. It's part of what ran him out of Bayern. He didn't like the dynamic structure there with Uli Hoeneß and the ownership group there and the board and all the folks who make the decisions in terms of who was going to be playing for Bayern. That's part of why he left. Thomas Tuchel never stays anywhere a long time. That's my issue with Thomas Tuchel. He's an unlikable guy who comes in, lights a fire under teams, would probably make Manchester United better in the short term, but his last 5 stays have all been, under 2 years or something like that. He has not been anywhere for a long time recently. It's been a long time since he's had more than a 2-year stay anywhere. So, and part of it is because he butts heads and he runs himself out. But if he's open on the way in of saying, hey, I want a say in this, well, then they shouldn't hire him, and they didn't, and that's why Erik ten Hag is still there. Well, Zinedine Zidane's going to have the same problem. I just don't see that. I don't see him coming in and just going, sure, give me who you got. Give me, oh, yeah, he seems nice, I'll coach him. There's no chance. This is a guy who got a red card in his final World Cup game for headbutting an opponent who said something about his sister. Think he's going to sit back and let Harry Maguire come to him? I don't think so. He's going to want to run him out of town and get some competent defenders. And so I see that being a major problem. And as soon as these talks become actual talks and Jim Ratcliffe and Dan Ashworth sit down with Zinedine Zidane, they're going to start talking about what it's going to take to get him in the door, and that'll be the deal breaker. That'll be the deal breaker right there, just like it was for Tuchel, and that'll be the end of those discussions. Which leads me to Ruud van Nistelrooy. And he was brought in over the summer to be the assistant for Erik ten Hag, and right off the bat, it felt like he was the manager in waiting. Simply because of the complete lack of certainty of Erik ten Hag's managerial career. We knew he was on the hot seat. We knew they looked for more managers. We knew that they only kept him because of really a lack of a better option. They gave him a 1-year extension just so he wasn't a lame duck, but that is about as little of a vote of confidence as you could possibly ask for. And then here we are doing this again. Ruud van Nistelrooy does not have the most experience as a manager, but he has worked with a few clubs and he has been a head guy. He was the head manager. He was the manager. He was the head guy at PSV Eindhoven in 22 and 23 before, and he led them to a second-place finish in the Eredivisie, which clearly is a place that Manchester United is not afraid to shop, right? They brought Erik ten Hag from there. They've gotten a ton of his players from there. Hasn't worked out, so maybe they should stop doing that. But nevertheless, they're clearly not afraid of the jump from the Eredivisie to the Premier League. And Van Nistelrooy came in. He left PSV because they were not getting the financial support as a club to go get the players that he thought they needed to make the jump to win the Eredivisie. And so he left, and he has now landed at Manchester United on the bench, on Erik ten Hag's bench, as an assistant. And that means a couple things. He already knows what they're doing there. He knows the system. He knows the structure of the organization. He knows that he's not going to get a say. I'm guessing he wouldn't have come on to be an assistant there if he wasn't okay with that. He does not have the coaching status and structure to drop the hammer and go, nope, I want my players or I'm not doing it. He's just not there yet. But he came anyway. And he came to work for Erik ten Hag, probably in the back of his mind knowing, well, that guy's a ticking time bomb. He could be gone at any time, and there it goes. It opens up for me. I mean, at this point, if they fired Erik ten Hag tomorrow, Van Nistelrooy would almost certainly be the caretaker manager, right? That's almost a given, I would think. So if and when that happened, he would get a shot right off the bat. The question is if they are actually eyeing him up for the actual job or if it's just as an interim. I don't think he'd be my first choice in a vacuum, assuming every manager you could possibly want would actually be interested. They talked to Tuchel, they talked to Pochettino, they are linked to Zidane. If there's a good manager out there, they're going to be linked to him. I just don't know how many managers are going to be willing to get in the water with them and to walk into this complete shit show that they've become and not be able to pick the players. They went and spent a ton of money on Dan Ashworth. Dan Ashworth is going to pick those damn players. That's what he's there to do, and he has shown a track record of being good at it. They need a manager who's going to go manage them. It does appear that Ruud van Nistelrooy is willing to do that, and he coached some under-19s, and he coached at PSV, and now he's getting he's cutting his teeth in the Premier League as an assistant. He also played at Manchester United. That's always been an important factor for Manchester United managers, is to have one of their own, a former Man United guy. And I don't know how much that matters. I certainly don't care about it, but for those who do put stock in that, he checks that box as well. So, I don't know, a lot of pluses there. Again, he wouldn't be my first choice if everybody they wanted was willing, but they're not. They're a mess. They're a mess with a bloated roster and a lot of expensive talent they can't unload, and they're not that good right now. And yes, they've got enough talent to be considerably better quickly with better management, but they're not going to win the league overnight. Zinedine Zidane's not going to come in and lead them to a Premier League title this year. That's not a thing that's going to happen. So, these managers that want to win, I'm not sure Manchester United is the attractive destination it once was and has been for a long time. And so because of that, and we saw this over the summer, that they had trouble getting in the names they wanted and they settled for Ten Hag again. Because of that, when they are finally ready to move on from Ten Hag, and I'll bet it's before Thanksgiving, they may have to turn to somebody in-house. And I don't know if Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to be a great manager or if we're going to be back doing this again a year or two from now. But he may be the best they can get mid-season and willing to take on the situation that they have. And because of that, willingness to be there is a huge factor, and he might end up being the best option realistically. I'd love to get your thoughts, so get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. Am I off base? Would Zinedine Zidane actually come there? Is Tuchel changing his mind? Do we really think that's going to happen, and why? Tell me what's changed. Get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. You can also leave comments on Twitter at PitchsidePub. Check out the website, pitchsidepub.com, and make sure you hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel for this and all of our videos. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.